Cassandra Pierce had been running for 2 days, running from the life she no longer wanted, running from a man who claimed to love her while keeping her under lock and key. The Arizona desert stretched endlessly ahead of her, shimmering under the brutal sun. She had planned her escape carefully, but heat exhaustion didn't care about planning. Every step felt heavier. Every breath felt thinner. By mid-afternoon, the world had turned into wavering ribbons of light. Her canteen was empty, her vision blurred. She stumbled, her boots dragging across the sand like they were filled with gravel. The desert wind whispered around her, carrying the faint scent of creosote and dust. Cassandra blinked hard, but the horizon swayed. She fell to her knees, then collapsed entirely, face first, into the sun-baked sand. Somewhere between consciousness and nothingness, she heard a voice, low, rough, concerned. Hey now, don't go dying out here." A shadow fell over her. Someone lifted her gently arms, strong enough to carry her, but careful enough not to hurt her. Her name slipped from her lips, barely a whisper. When she woke, she wasn't dead. She was inside a canvas tent, shaded from the sun, with a wet cloth on her forehead. A man sat beside her, sharpening a knife with slow, methodical strokes. His hat was pushed low, his jaw rough with stubble, his eyes a piercing desert storm blue. "About time you woke up," he said. Without looking up, "Name's Marcus Hale. Found you half-cooked out there." Cassandra struggled to sit up. Marcus moved to help her, his touch steady. "You're safe here," he said. "But what in blazes were you doing, wandering out alone?" Her throat tightened. She didn't want to reveal anything. Not yet, not her past. Not the danger she carried. "I was trying to get away." Marcus studied her quietly. He didn't pry, didn't push. Instead, he stood and poured her a cup of cool water. "You drink slow, else you'll get sick." As she sipped, she watched him move around the tent. Everything about him, the way he carried himself, the way he scanned the horizon, even while inside, told her he wasn't just some desert drifter. He was a man who knew how to survive, a man who had lived long enough with danger to recognize it when he saw it. "For whoever you're running from," he finally said, "you don't have to tell me. Not till you're ready." Cassandra clutched the blanket tightly. She had feared every man she'd met for years, but this one made her feel something she thought she had lost: safe. And that terrified her more than anything. Marcus Hale lived alone by choice. His camp sat tucked between 2 towering red rock formations, hidden from wandering eyes. His horse, Whiskey, grazed nearby, and his small shelter held everything he needed: a bedroll, a fire pit, a few tools, and the wide desert stretching endlessly in every direction. "So," Marcus said, eventually, as he cleaned a rabbit he'd snared, "you got a name?" She hesitated. "Cassandra?" He nodded, like that confirmed something he already suspected. "Well, Cassandra, you don't strike me as the type who ends up in the desert by accident." She stiffened. Marcus noticed. "Easy," he said, voice softening. "I ain't joking. Just trying to figure out how to help you." Cassandra didn't answer. Not because she didn't want to, but because the words stuck. Marcus didn't push further. Instead, he cooked the rabbit, offering her the first bite. She took it hesitantly, and he chuckled. "I ain't poisoning ya. If I wanted you dead, I wouldn't have dragged your unconscious self across the desert." Despite her fears, she smiled. Just a little. Later that evening, as the sky burned orange, Marcus sat sharpening his knife again. "You remind me of someone," he said quietly. "Who?" she asked. "My sister. Used to look over her shoulder, same way you do." "What happened to her?" Cassandra whispered. "She left." Marcus shrugged. "Got away from the man who hurt her." Cassandra swallowed hard. Did you help her?" Marcus paused, then nodded. "A man's got 2 choices in life: hurt people or protect M. I chose the second." It was the first time she saw vulnerability in him, a flicker, like a candle bending in the wind. That night, Cassandra lay awake, listening to the fire crackle, while Marcus kept watch outside. She heard him hum, a low tune, mournful and steady. He was a cowboy with ghosts, and she was a woman, hiding from monsters. Somehow, their broken pieces fit the same desert. By the third day, Cassandra could stand on her own, though Marcus insisted she move slowly. The desert was cruel to those who didn't respect it. "You ever lived out here before?" Marcus asked as he showed her how to gather water from barrel cactus. "No, thought so. You walk like someone who grew up with fancy boots." She laughed it surprised, even her. "Is that your way of saying I look out of place?" He smirked. "Darlin', you ain't just out of place. You're a whole other world, dropped in mine." His teasing warmed her more than the sunlight. But as the sun dipped low, her past like the night crept closer. Marcus noticed her growing quiet. "You're thinking too hard." Cassandra's fingers trembled. She finally whispered, "Marcus, there is someone looking for me." His jaw flexed. Figured he won't stop. "Good." She blinked. "Means I'll know exactly what's cumin when he shows his face." Her breath caught. "You'd protect me." Marcus stepped closer, his voice low, steady, dangerous. "Cassandra, ain't no one laying a hand on you while I'm breathin'." Her heart cracked open. Trust. Real trust. Something she thought she'd buried forever. She told him everything. For fiance, the man with money and connections, the control, the threats, the bruises no one saw. Marcus didn't interrupt, but the fire beside them flared, as if reacting to the heat in his chest. When she finished, he knelt in front of her. "You ain't going back to him. Not now, not ever." "Marcus, you barely know me." "I know enough." His fingers grazed her cheek knot. A touch of possession, but of protection. That night, she fell asleep beside him, close enough to feel his warmth, safe enough to let her guard slip for the first time in years. Fate hadn't brought them together. Survival had, and survival made bonds thicker than blood. 3 days later, Marcus spotted dust rising in the distance far, too deliberate to be natural. "Riders," he muttered. Cassandra froze. "It's him." Marcus grabbed his rifle, checking the chamber. "Get inside the tent. Don't come out unless I say, but bet." "Cassandra." His voice softened. "I'll handle this." She obeyed, though fear clawed her throat. Through a slit in the canvas, she saw 3 riders approach. Her fiancé, Everett, Sloane, dressed in fine clothes, unsuited for the desert, flanked by 2 armed men. Everett dismounted, sneering. "Marcus Hale, I've heard of you. The desert ghost, the wild man." Marcus didn't flinch. "Turn around and ride out. She belongs to me. She ain't property." Everett laughed coldly. "Everything is property when you can afford it." Marcus raised his rifle. Last chance. The air grew still tighter than a drawn bowstring. Everett snapped his fingers. His men reached for their guns. Cassandra pushed from the tent, despite Marcus's warning. "Stop." Everett's eyes darkened. "Cassandra, get over here now." Marcus stepped in front of her. She said no. Gunfire shattered the silence. Sand exploded. Whiskey reared. Marcus fired clean and sharp, dropping 1 man instantly. The other aimed at Cassandra. Marcus threw himself in front of her, the bullet grazing his arm. He growled through the pain, firing again. Everett fled toward his horse, but Marcus tackled him, pinning him to the ground. "You come after her again," Marcus hissed, "and I'll bury you so deep the buzzards won't find you." Everett scrambled up and rode off, shouting curses carried away by the wind. Cassandra rushed to Marcus, tears streaming. "You're hurt." "I'm fine," he said, though blood dripped down his arm. "You saved my life, I told you. I protect what matters." Their eyes met. A heartbeat passed. Then another. In the shadow of the red rocks, she kissed him slow, trembling, full of everything she'd held back for too long. The desert held its breath, and Marcus kissed her back. Marcus healed slowly, but Cassandra never left his side. Each day felt less like hiding and more like becoming human again. One morning, she found him packing supplies. "Are you leaving?" she asked, heart sinking. "No." Marcus looked at her softly. "We are." "You deserve more than a tent in the desert," he said. "There's a small town north of here, quiet, safe. We can start over." Tears filled her eyes, but, for the first time in years, They were tears of hope. They saddled whiskey together, riding toward the horizon. The sun rose behind them, casting long shadows that stretched like memories, fading with every mile. Cassandra pressed her cheek to Marcus's back. "You saved my life," she whispered. He shook his head, gently. "No, you saved yourself. I just helped you finish the run." As they rode into a new future, she realized something powerful. Freedom wasn't just escaping the past, it was choosing who would walk beside you into the future. Marcus looked back at her, giving that crooked grin she'd grown to love. "Come on, Desert Rose. Let's go build our own story." She smiled. Together, forever, and the desert wind carried them forward. A life built not from fear, but from courage, healing, and love. Wild as the land itself. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.